So this is session 2. It was called Adult Images, and there was a lot of really important prep work for this session. Some of the things that we did to prep were, Jennifer, did you want to talk about something we did?
Well, the physical,
The
this
physical
is
prep.
one of the most important lessons that you have to physically prep your room for.
Okay.
So you need to make sure that your kids have, when they come in, they have the experience of seeing all the pictures, the images laid out. You lose so much impact if you're busily trying to set up the pictures. And this is not something you want to pass off to a student to do. You really should have the room laid out with all the images. And this is now kind of the first time too in prep that I remember really paying attention to the bridging part. When I was going through my lesson plan prep, because I had a lesson before this and I have a lesson after, just making sure that I started to ingrain that what did we do in the last session language and what are we going to do in the next session. So I think if you start that practice in lesson 2, it'll carry through.
A very important part. The one that you had mentioned back about making sure the room's set up.
Yeah.
This is one that I remember takes a little bit of time, and depending on when your students are coming into the classroom before, you got to make sure, because you're setting up all those pictures around the room, and then making sure your students are being directed to their seats. They'll come in and see, they get this kind of sense that something's going on, but then making sure that you get started in the lesson.
The other thing I would say is to use the entire space in the room.
Oh, yeah.
So it directs kids to front, back, sides of the room, and the other thing that I found helpful was to use a timer to give the students a specific amount of time that they were allowed to be out and about searching for photos.
The other thing is in the manual, this introduction of the timeline of the before and after. Because now once you've done session 1, once you get into session 2, you want that connection, like you said, back and forth. So that's a nice kind of thing to look at to make sure that you're making that bridge.
Yeah. And along with it, the adult images paper where they could write down what they projected as the adult images for themselves, just so they had a reference. When we went out to share, it was right there in front of them. They were able to use that and share easily.
That is an option, so make the decision before. Just so
If your
you're
student
ready.
needs
If you're
something
gonna
to
do
be
it or
writing.
not. Right. And it's another clustering activity. So I think prep-wise for me, this was one where I had to make sure I knew the names of the 4 domains inside and out.
Yeah.
Because you have to sound like an expert on the 4 domains. So make sure that you've got a way to really practice that in your reading of the manual so that when it comes time to cluster, it's seamless.
And that you know the initial,
That's what I was
the
gonna
key
say.
initials on the bottom,
Yeah.
what they stand for.
Right.
And
Like
well, I was just going to say, and that can be found on the website on that particular tab where it lists all of the PowerPoint slides, that you could project that and then it's right there for you. You don't have to worry about it. So.
And actually this is one in the video where they don't get to all 4 domains.
Yes.
And it is kind of good to watch that portion to see that it's okay. If you don't get to all 4 domains, don't force it.
And don't give them the title.
And don't give them the title.
Right.
It'll come